Okay, so good morning again, everyone. Uh, so in the last class, we had looked at the epithelial type of tissue, which is one of the type of animal tissue. Now we are going to have a look at connective tissue, which is the second type. One thing that I must mention with respect to epithelial tissue, your textbook says there are four different types of tissue, and they have only classified them as squamous epithelium, stratified epithelium, cuboidal, and columnar epithelium. So these were the four types. And what we had done is we had divided the tissue into simple squamous, stratified squamous, and then cuboidal and columnar. These were the four types we had seen. So it is ultimately the same thing, but remember stratified can be a type for even cuboidal. So there will be stratified cuboidal epithelium as well, right? So just to give you a quick overview here, book says squamous and then stratified, and then they are putting all these categories in stratified, and then they will subclassify them into stratified squamous, stratified cuboidal, and so on. But what we had done was we had looked at simple squamous, stratified squamous, and then cuboidal and columnar. So but this classification is ultimately the same, whatever we had seen. Okay, so moving forward with the connective tissue. Now, so the main crux of this connective tissue lies with the intercellular matrix, not intracellular. It is intercellular. Intracellular would mean within the cell. Intercellular means between the cells. So there is a difference between intra and inter. So what when we are referring to connective tissues, it is related like closely or loosely spaced cells or tissue network, which is embedded in an intercellular matrix. Now, for example, if I have to give you an analogy to this, uh, like we have a gel-like structure, and you plant something uh, in within that gel. So those let's say a seed or something like material, or even a marble within a gel, will be acting like a cell, and that gel will be the matrix-like structure. So that is how these connective tissues are. They are specialized to connect the various body organs. Their main is to connect or to attach with each other, each of the organs within the whole of the body system. Now, what is this intercellular matrix ideally? It can have three components. The overall connective tissue network within your body can have three different components. It is one is obviously the cells, then second is intercellular matrix, and third is fibers. So if you look at intercellular matrix, it is made up of a compound which is mucopolysaccharide. Mucopolysaccharide is again a type of polysaccharide where it is little it contains those muco compounds that refers to, like, I don't know how to say it, but yeah, they are just kind of polymeric in nature, a little bigger compound attached with some carbohydrate like polysaccharides. So this combination is mucopolysaccharide. And the most important one is the hyaluronic acid. Now this is the cementing material between the cells. So let's say you have a cluster of cells, and when they are attached to each other, usually this is the one which is holding those cells together in a tissue network. Like how you have bricks and you actually add a cement in between bricks to the wall. So that is something similar hyaluronic acid does. Uh, May I request all the others who joined just now to join at least within first 5 minutes of the class. It is almost 9:30 and people are very late. So please try to join on time. I usually start my class 3 minutes past so that you get a break. And 9:05 is something where we are supposed to start the class. Still, I started at 9:07. So it's best that you join earlier. Okay, so coming back, so intercellular matrix, that is the matrix made up of mucopolysaccharide-like compound and the cementing material, that is hyaluronic acid. Now, one interesting fact about this hyaluronic acid is everyone is aware of the sperm. Now, this sperm at the tip of the sperm has this hyaluronic acid, because when it has to penetrate the egg or ova, it has to dissolve the egg membrane or the outer layers on the egg which are present in the female reproductive tract. So, and to penetrate that egg membrane, the hyaluronic acid which is present on the tip of the sperm has to dissolve that egg membrane, and then it release the nucleus inside the egg. So that is one of the function of hyaluronidase, which breaks down the hyaluronic acid, and even that hyaluronic acid is present in the egg membrane. So that is just a quick fact about this hyaluronic acid, and that is forming the intercellular matrix. Second component, obviously, it is going to be cell, because it is like forming a tissue network. So there will be cells. Now there are different types of cells with respect to the connective tissue, and they are fibroblast. Fibroblast, they are nothing but like a fiber-like little elongated cells. Adipocytes, these are fat storing cells. Adipose tissue or adipocytes, that's what it refers to. So they are fat storing cells. Plasma cells, these are nothing but your blood cells. Then collagen fiber, this is related to your bones, where the collagen fibers are attached. Elastic fiber, these are along with the muscles or even the tendon structure, these are elastic fiber. And reticular fiber, and I forgot what reticular fiber was. Okay, I will not comment about it. Reticular fiber, what is it about? Yeah, so I don't know as of now what reticular fiber is, but rest of the other fibers, these are the like fibers which are present in the what you see, the connective tissue. So there are cells and then there are fibers. Cells are of different types. Mast cell I deliberately did not speak of because mast cells, these are the ones which release histamine in your body. I hope you are aware of inflammatory response, and whenever there is, let's say, an insect bite or even an ant bite, that causes that swelling at that biting point, right? That is because of some of the cytokine molecules or inflammatory compounds being released by the body to take care of that particular bite. And something there are few cells which does this function, and they are called as mast cell. Don't call it must cell, yeah, it's mast cell. So different types of cell, different types of fibers along with the intercellular matrix will make the connective tissue type of network. Now like the example of the connective tissue that is being given here, that is blood, which is a type of connective tissue, and this actually is the type of fluid connective tissue. What we imagine usually of connective tissue is it has to be solid structure, but there is an exception to this, that is blood, which is a fluid connective tissue. Then bones are of course type of connective tissue, cartilages, ligaments and tendons. Now cartilage is something everyone knows, that nose on the front part has a cartilage, or the ear, there is this small outgrowth in the front part of the ear, that is a cartilage which is not bony, but yet it is very hard, not very hard, but yeah, relatively very hard. So that is cartilage at nose and the ear structure. Ligaments, these are across the joints, and tendons are also present along the muscle fibers to hold on to different joint structures. So these are the few of the examples of connective tissue. Now just plasma or blood as an example of connective tissue. it is a fluid matrix of blood, right? That is when I say it is the type of the blood or plasma as a connective tissue is a fluid connective tissue, and it is a matrix of blood where the cells are suspended in it, and these cells, you know, that is RBC, WBC, and platelets kind of cells. So this whole thing is called as blood connective tissue, or we simply call it blood. Any question here in any of these points that we discussed?
Sir, so could we say that anything that runs throughout our body is connective tissue because it's all connected?
No, sorry, come again.
So like, for example, here, bones, cartilage, tendons, they run all through our body, right? So then we are calling them connective tissues. The muscles also run through all our body, so they are also connective tissues, right?
No, muscles, they are specific type, no, muscular tissue it is.
Oh, okay.
See, the distinguishing character between epithelium, connective, and muscular and nervous is the distinctive feature of them. Does muscles have intercellular matrix? I would say no. So that is where they are different than the connective tissue. And also the muscle fiber arrangement, which we'll see in the next part, it is totally different than how these cells are arranged. These are loosely packed or loosely spaced cells with intercellular matrix, and muscles, they have totally different arrangement.
Okay.
And at the same time, epithelial cells, they are very tightly packed and they are present at the inner lining or external surface and so on. So that way we will see. At the end, I will give you a brief of all these four, so you will have more and more clarity of whatever we had seen throughout.
Okay.
Okay, so I assume anyone else also does not have any question, and I will move forward with these different examples of connective tissue. So bones, see, I have deliberately not put few pictures here because we know these things in at least in terms of names and where they are present. And if the pictures are being kept here, then it might get confusing at times. And we don't have to draw those diagrams for bones and ligaments and so on. So they have been skipped. So bones, again, a type of or example of connective tissue that forms the framework that supports the body. This we all know. It is a strong and non-flexible tissue, right? It is hard relatively compared to all other type of tissue. Bone cells, they are embedded in the heart matrix that is composed of calcium and phosphorus compounds. So there are these bone cells, like when we think of bone, we always think of it in conjunction with, like it's like a wood, right? How a wood or a stick is, we always think of bones like that. But bones are actually made up of cells, and they are suspended in a matrix of calcium and phosphorus. So that means they, of course, they have certain fibers and they have cementing material which are connecting those cells. But just because of those presence of these ions, that is calcium and phosphorus, and of course certain properties of those cells, the bones are much harder in terms of their consistency. So that is the bone. Do not imagine bone as a single dead tissue. It is not dead. Remember, bone marrow is where the your RBCs and other type of cells, hematopoietic cells, they are called as, they are getting synthesized, so they cannot be dead cells. They are very much living. Also remember, bone grows over time during, like from childhood to your adult stage. So that way they have to be living cells to grow. So that is one, just the note. The second example is the ligaments. Now two bones, they are connected to each other by a connective tissue, and that is called as ligament. Usually these ligaments are flexible or elastic in nature. So for example, like we have these like joints, right? Let's say elbow joint. So at the elbow joint, there will be a ligament which is crossing from one bone and jumping across the joint on the other side to the other bone. So that particular thread or that particular connective tissue is called as ligament. Usually we have this ligament at each and every joint. You might have heard terminology called ligament tear. That is nothing but the fiber or the connective tissue which is connecting across the joint is broken. Broken again does not mean completely broken. It depends on the severity of whatever the injury is, but that connecting part is the ligament. Tendons. Now, bones are connected to muscles by another type of connective tissue, and they are called as tendons. So, between bones and muscles, there will be something called as tendons, and they are nothing but the type of connective tissue, not type, an example of connective tissue. Tendons, these are usually fibrous and they have very, very good strength, but limited flexibility. So that is when you would have realized when you are bending down, like trying to touch your hands or palms on the ground and taking your head towards the knees, there is something at the waist or hip joint which does not let you do that action completely. That is because of the tendon. Or when you try to like bend your, not bend, when you try to do certain exercises with the thighs, right? That is the tendon bone, no, not tendon bone. That is the tendon connective tissue, which does not let you do flexibility stretches, even the split that people do, right? Where you completely stretch both the legs on the opposite direction, and that also is like sometimes not like some people are not being able to do because of the tendons in the glute region, that is in the hip region, and also the inner groin part. So these are the kind of tendons which are attaching to the bone structure with the muscles present in that particular area. I hope the difference between these ligaments, tendons, and bones, and of course cartilage we'll see, is kind of clear. Now, cartilage is another type of connective tissue which has widely spaced cell and has a solid matrix of tissue. And that matrix is composed of proteins and sugars. Now, sugar doesn't mean that sweet sugar that we eat. Sugars means carbohydrate-like molecule. Yeah. So proteins and carbohydrate, they will form the solid matrix in which the cartilage cells, they are suspended. So that is why they form a kind of a little hard texture of that particular tissue. Cartilage smoothens the bone surface at the joints, and it's also present in the nose, ear, trachea, and larynx.
Yeah, like if you in your nose, if you put there's a middle thing separating, right? So if you do that, that's a cartilage, not a bone.
Yeah, the front part, the tip of the nose is all cartilage, and the bone starts somewhere like in the middle part of the mouth.
Eye, near the eye, the bone start.
Yeah. So that is whole thing is cartilage, and like I said, in ear also you have this front portion which is like a little smaller, like an outgrowth like thing. That is also cartilage. Trachea is again a cartilaginous tissue. It also has muscles to some extent, because the trachea is just the way for the air to, or it's called as windpipe. So that windpipe also has this muscles along with this cartilaginous tissue. And larynx, so I hope you are aware of the pharynx and larynx between the oral, no, not oral, yeah, the gastrointestinal system. So that is the larynx. It also has a part of cartilage. And the cartilage of the ear can be folded, like this part, like I said, it can be folded either inward or outward. because it is not like super hard, but it has just having the little hard or rough texture. Okay, so these are the different examples of the connective tissue. Again, any question here?
No, sir.
Vidushi?
No, sir.
Okay, so then the functions of this connective tissue, we have seen what they are, what are different examples, and so on. Then the functions of connective tissue. Now, obviously, these are the attachment points between organs and tissues together, or can be between two organs and so on, right? So they are the tissue which connects different organs or different tissues. They store fat in the form of adipose tissue. So usually when you have this lot of belly fat, that is nothing but some sort of adipose tissue, or even in the hip and the thigh region, we have lot of fat deposition that is usually in the form of adipose tissue. Sometimes it's also in the muscles, but in like in the cases where it is not in the muscles, it is in the adipose tissue format, that is the connective tissue in general. This connective tissue, they also help in repairing the tissues, because they are attaching the different tissue structure or holding the different organ systems together. Even in case of repair, they are very helpful. Simple thing or simple example that you would know of is the ligament tear, right? When the tear is happening, you keep it in a proper biological posture, that particular joint, it repairs automatically over the time, like of course after a rest. These tissues, they also prevent the organs from the mechanical shock, because they are kind of present in between the organs and also between the bones and the muscles and so on, below the skin as well. So there are they provide like shock proof mechanism to the body, especially the mechanical shock. Otherwise, imagine if the connective tissues are not there, and if someone just pushes you, your heart will go from left to right and come back to its place. That would have been like a very hypothetical and funny situation. But that doesn't happen, because there are connective tissues present surrounding it, and it's holding all the organ in its place. The organs also help in defense. Defense means protecting from the entry of pathogen from outside the body. So the deeper layers of the tissue, or even the organs themselves, they are being protected by this connective tissue, because they are present in between this. So they ultimately also provide some sort of defense. Some of the connective tissue, they are known to have this what we say, immune cells, and that is another mechanism by which they protect the body or the organs. So these are the functions in terms of like classification, which is based on the function, like that is connective tissue, which is the original connective tissue, which just provide support or protection to the body or the organs. Vascular tissue, they are responsible for transport of materials in the body, which are made up of connective tissue. And skeletal tissue, and these are again the types of connective tissue, but skeletal tissue you will have in the muscular tissue as well, so not to get confused there. So the skeletal tissue, it supports the body and give a proper shape and the form. So that is the different example based on the function of the connective tissue. Okay, any question here? I assume this was much simpler in terms of understanding. You can forget this type or this like type of classification, because that is not, we are not going to write it anywhere. What we need to remember is what are the functions based on what type of tissue it is. Okay, so then in that case, I'll just show you this diagram, and then I guess I have one more. No, I have only one. So I'll show you this diagram to show the presence of connective tissues present at different places. So for example, the first arrow indicates next to the shoulder. That is there are cells, there are collagen fibers, which you can see is this red stripe like material, and the other fibers which are purple color or so. Yeah, if I'm correct, and that is present just below the skin, loose connective tissue under the skin at the shoulder region. So wherever usually you have muscles, next to muscles on bone side also you will have these ligament or tendon like materials, and you will on the skin side you will have this loose connective tissue. Then there is adipose tissue, which is like fat droplets along the side or outside the cell, right? So, and that, like I said, the belly fat that you know of is usually, or the side fat, that is nothing but your adipose tissue. The third one that is shown as an example of connective tissue is the blood. Obviously, like I said, it is a fluid connective tissue. So these cells, WBC and RBC, they are suspended in a matrix of plasma. So that is the fluid connective tissue. And they have shown a vein which is carrying the blood, and that blood is being enlarged here. Then the fourth example, that is the fibrous connective tissue. Again, the fibers or the muscles which are present at the what is this pectoral joint, right? That is the shoulder girdle or shoulder joint. That particular type of tissue which has cell nucleus, and it has lot of collagen fibers. Now, if you look at different types of fibers, they are or different types of structural arrangement within the connective tissue itself, there are quite a lot of diversity. So that is what is this fibrous connective tissue, which has more of collagen fibers and which is forming a ligament at the shoulder. And this shoulder movement, which is called as circumduction, right? The shoulder movement, that is, you can move your hand in any possible direction from the shoulder joint, that is circumduction. And that particular movement is possible because of the ligament present at the shoulder joint. Then the cartilage at the end of the bone, those who are, no, I shouldn't say that. Let me skip that part. I was going to say those who eat non-veg, they would have identified, but those who don't, then for them it will be a problem to imagine. Let's assume that we have these bones, and if you look at the end of the bone, which is kind of roundish structure most of the times, so on that roundish surface there is a hard covering, that is nothing but the cartilage. It need not be like super hard structure, but it is relatively tough in terms of its context. So that is the cartilage which is present at the end of the bone, and it has again cells and matrix along with the like I said, proteins and carbohydrate molecule. And now of course the nose and the ear part also has these cartilages. Then the bone itself, it has different porosities with the cells which are suspended in the matrix of phosphorus and calcium like iron, and that is what makes them hard. So these are the various examples of this connective tissues. So coming back to the types of connective tissue, there are two major types of connective tissue. First one is the areolar tissue, and second one is the adipose tissue. Now, areolar tissue, they are found in the skin and the muscles, and of course around the blood vessels and nerve. The function of this areolar tissue, it fills the space inside the organ. inside the organ, as in not literally within the organ, but like wherever there is extra space and that is not occupied even by the air. For example, lung, it has an internal space, but that does not mean the connective tissue or this areolar tissue will go and fill up that space. No, wherever there is an additional space within an organ or around the organ, this type of tissue will take over that particular place, and they help in terms of repair as well as supporting the internal organ. So that is the areolar tissue. I'm just checking one thing, if your textbook mentions something different. So textbook actually says there are three type: connective tissue, supportive tissue, and fluid connective tissue. So these are the three types. Within connective tissue, that is the proper connective tissue, it is called as, we have areolar tissue and adipose tissue. And in the supporting connective tissue, we have cartilage, bones, and tendons. And the fluid connective tissue is the blood and lymph. So three types. I will put this chart up there so that you will have it for your reference. But that classification is not really important. Understanding individual type is most important part. Adipose tissue, special type of tissue where there is lot of fat storage, and it also acts as insulator. So it is generally said that those who are fat in terms of their body structure or a little on the healthier side, they don't feel cold. The reason could be because the fat acts as the insulator type of molecule. So usually these are present between the internal organs and just below the skin. So that's how they insulate the outer environment from the within body. So these are the two types. The rest we have discussed enough in terms of bones, tendons, and so on, and even blood. We don't need not go into the detail. Yeah, so that is the connective tissue. Okay, anyone has any doubt here? Okay, so if you have no doubts, then we can actually stop here.